You are now tuned into Moses Squared Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Make sure you follow both me and Desmond on social media platforms, as well as subscribing to Moses Squared Podcast on YouTube and following Moses Squared Pod on Instagram. Enjoy the episode. Welcome into another episode of Moses Squared Podcast. I am your girl, Lauren, former UVA women's basketball player, current digital reporter, freelance commentator, all the things, here with my big bro.
It's your boy. Clap it up for my sis right now. She's qualified. She's like that athlete, intellectual, everything you need. It's your boy Desmond Moses, former Kansas City Green Bay Packer. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Period.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. Doing my 1-2. I appreciate y'all tuning in low. What we got for him this week? What we talking about?
This week, we thought it would be best for those who have not been tuning in, who might not know who we are, to just take a trip down memory lane.
Take it back. Roll the sleeves up.
We have a lot of titles. We have a lot of projects that we work on. Our hands are in a few different things. And, it's just important for you guys to get to know your host, the people that you watch on a weekly basis. So
why the hell y'all even listening to us? Y'all don't even know who we are. Well, we somebody. We do all right. We did our thing.
Yeah, let's get into it. So I'll start from my experience. Or maybe you start from yours. You're older.
Let's do it. What we talking about?
So childhood.
Sports?
Yeah.
Come on, man. 609. I got it tattooed on my bicep. Anybody know? If you know me, you know it's 609 Willingboro, New Jersey, born and raised. Shout out to Mount Holly, though. I spent a couple years in Mount Holly getting acquainted at Rancocas Valley Regional, where my little sister also went.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was a Willingboro kid. The borough, Willingboro High. Rest in peace to my high school coach as well. I'm going to take the time to send my condolences. Coach Hayspell, man, a man who changed the course of my life for sure and helped influence me as a young black male in this world, trying to figure out my space, trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to navigate this thing. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
Had very, very many talks with this guy just along my journey, not only as a high school or a college athlete, but as a professional, going back to my high school, my town. He was right there and worked a few of my camps also that I did in my neighborhood. So shout out to him. Coach Hayspell, special man for me.
So I'm from Willingboro too. It's funny that I say that though, because
She stayed inside though, y'all. She wasn't outside. I was outside.
I was a kid. First of all, let's start there. I was literally
young. You was young.
But I was born in the town that I ended up growing up in. So I was born in Mount Holly, New Jersey, but I lived in Willingboro, but then went back to Mount Holly when I was in elementary school and stayed there until I was in high school. But Mount Holly is really where I.
It was like this though. Mount Holly, Willingboro. It was like this. It was rival schools. I had to deal with some beef in high school. Oh, you wasn't even really
very close.
We'll get into it though.
We'll get into that. But no, do you remember like your first sports experience as a child? What sport were you playing, and where was it?
It was baseball. I was over there at Powell Field. If anybody know, in Pennypacker, New Jersey, it was it's a park essentially. So Willingboro is divided into about 9 parks. As your niece enters the room, y'all say what's up to my little one. She's supposed to be in bed.
Aren't you supposed to be sleeping, pretty girl?
You trying to record?
Naomi, you're on the podcast.
You live, baby. Say what's up. My first sports memory was as clear as day. I was Pennypacker Field, Powell Field in Willingboro, New Jersey. This was a field if you was from Willingboro, you know exactly where it's at. They had the cheese fries. They had the corner stores. They had the juicy juices. This is where a lot of things happened for us in our childhood. This is, you get your bike stolen. You better have your hands together. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody all those things took place. But my first memory as an athlete was there. I remember playing. I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I was playing up with the older team. It was a travel team from my neighborhood, and I was the youngest kid. So not the best body. I wasn't the most athletic, but I was just a hard-nosed kid. I was always a try-hard type of athlete. Long story short, I ended up winning the game for my team. A play at the plate. You had to slide. I ran. I jumped over this kid. He's holding. He had to have his eyes closed. I jumped over him, didn't touch them, cleared them, veered back. Refs going crazy. My teammates going crazy. My city going crazy. and my dad was proud. It was a good day for a young
I was gonna
Desi
say,
in Willowboro, New Jersey.
Were these the days when Daddy was walking around with a camcorder or a
Oh
camera of some
yeah.
sort?
Cousin Abdul was the coach. We had the whole. It was a family environment. Shout out to Cousin Abdul, Big and Little Abdul. It was, it was one of the purest moments as a kid. Just being in your neighborhood, growing up in a neighborhood that we had great athletes. There was other guys that should have been pros, and other guys that were pros. So it meant something to be an athlete where I was from, Willingboro, New Jersey. And that memory in itself was one of the greatest, one of the ones that I'll never forget, even after having all those Lambos leaps, touchdowns, sacks, fist pumps. I still remember the very first play I made for my team back in the 609.
So it's crazy. I feel like
what's yours, Lo? Tell them.
Beginnings, my beginnings were humble because I played in.
They were. I saw you.
First of all, I was a chubby child.
I had a lot of work I had to put in with you, sis. I made you watch a lot of hours of me train.
I was a chubby child. I also my first basketball playing experience was rec league in West Hampton. I played on the East Hampton team. So it was, I'm just running around for real. I didn't really know.
It was like I didn't come to very many games at that point. I'm not gonna lie to the people. Your brother would support you. I would kick balls off your head to work on your agility and your hand-eye coordination. I would work with you at home, but I couldn't go watch that just yet, sis.
But I will say, so that was what I started playing basketball. I started the West Hampton League when I was like 5.
Young gun.
I feel like I was younger than that. But my favorite childhood experience, I will say, where I was able to overcome fear, the lack of confidence that I had in myself at that point, was when I started playing competitively, which meant AU, which meant travel league. And that's when I went across the bridge and I went to Philly.
Tell them how. Tell them about the bridge, Lo, because a lot of people don't know. We from Jersey, but we got a lot of involvement with Philadelphia, the tri-state.
Yes.
If you're really an athlete where you're from, you're going to play with people from other states, especially Philadelphia, probably New York, maybe Baltimore. We all group in one. We come together and take it over. Tell people about some of the stories, some of the gyms, the environments that you had to train in.
Yeah, so my favorite was actually with the Bells, my first ever AAU team. First day I went in there, cried, was scared. I was playing with teenagers at 9 years old. Like that's what Dez means when we were playing with these players. We're not playing with our age group. We're getting exposed to 16, 15-year-old girls who when I'm 9 years old. But I overcame it. I made the team, obviously not the 16U team, but I made the 9U team and I continued to build my way up. That was what Philly Bells switched over to Philly Triple Threat, and it was a whole new world. Philly Bells was predominantly white, and the competition was also predominantly white. And when I went over to Triple Threat, it was
City Girls,
black.
City Girls was
100% black. A lot of City Girls. They just different style of play, right? You gotta protect yourself. You gotta bring your own elbows. You gotta fight, battle. But my goal with
people might have to fight up in the stands too. We was ready.
Yes. So my least favorite experience is when I played across the other bridge in New York in Brooklyn, and my brother decided he wanted to fight the ref.
They was getting a little aggressive in there. I didn't appreciate it. I said, that's my sister now. Don't hurt that one.
You know what's crazy? All of my least favorite experiences have to do with either you or Daddy wanting to fight someone. Because even when I was younger, I was like probably 9 or 10 at this point, Daddy wanted to fight a father on the other team, and we go outside, and a guy on the other team, he gets in the car and he wants to hit Daddy with his car. And you know me, I'm like, no, that's my dad. I'm crying. I'm like, what is about to what is going on? I just want to play basketball.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
play basketball.
You just trying to hoop. I feel you, sis. And you know what? We apologize because we doing all we knew. I was just a young, wild linebacker with coming to the defense of my little sister.
Those were your playing days too, so you was
ready. I was ready. I was teed up at any time. Don't play with it. Y'all play around with all of them except that one right there.
Don't play
That's
with
my
it.
sister.
That's funny. But no, all jokes aside, though, I think those were very pivotal stages for us. You know, whether it
100%.
was travel, whether it was being a part of sports with our schools, because it builds that confidence, really.
Lauren, and I got to give shout out to two more guys who we both had an opportunity to work with that I feel like had an impact on our game, especially the mentality for myself and growing up in Willingboro made me tough. Grew up a fighter. We fought every day. It was like a sport. You didn't even have to be mad. You learn how to work your hands, but also it just gave you a mental toughness going into each and every day, knowing that hey, this is what it is, and I'm going to make the best of it. But there were two other guys, two other coaches, one by the name of Coach June, one by the name of Coach Ted, who I want to give some love to and give a shout out to because at two different points in our careers, and Lauren, we're 8 years apart, so still we had the experiences and the privilege of working with these two guys. But I would say the experiences were priceless, turning me into what I call a trained dog, the mentality I still keep today that I teach today to young athletes, whether in basketball, whether baseball, whether football. It's a mentality, the dog mindset of going out there and putting in that work every single day.
The work that doesn't get seen, the work that is going to make you think you want to quit, all of those things. And like these are people, I'm sure that there are other athletes out there or even parents who have sent their children to go work out with someone or paid someone to train their child. Like these are people who are doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. They see potential in your child. They love your child as their own. They protect them. They defend them. They speak about them when they're in rooms that they aren't in. Like these are the type of men that they were. Like Coach June has children. June brought us along with his children. We would spend days in this man's house. He fed us. He trained us. We take a nap, go work out again. Like these are men who really valued us as humans and our growth as athletes. Not because he thought we was going to put them on both of them. Not because they thought we were going to put them on when we get some money. Not because they wanted a handout. Not because they wanted any claps or hugs. No. It was out of the goodness of their heart. And so those are definitely two men that we have to, whenever we get a chance to talk about our childhood and our upbringing and what we've been able to do as athletes and the success that we've been able to obtain, a lot of it has to do with them as well as our parents, right? Like we can't leave 100%. Our parents out of this because there's so much sacrifice that my parents put in day in and day out to make sure that we're at workouts on time. We are at whoever's house. If they said that they're going to work us out at 10 o'clock, we're there at 9:30 so that they aren't waiting on us. They're paying all the fees, registration fees to be a part of teams, to be a part of tournaments.
Fees ain't free.
Not only that, their presence. They're there. Yeah. They're booking hotels. If your friend's parent can't come, your friend is staying in our hotel. Like our parents were huge support when it came to us making sure that we were where we needed to be in order to, at the end of the day, go to college for free and play the sports that we love.
And Lo, you just played basketball. I mean, I played AAU baseball, AAU basketball. I mean, it was a lot of commitment. So shout out to them. Shout out to Big Burn, Big Worm, niece. Valerie, happy Mother's Day to the ladies. Yeah. And, it's shout out to our parents because they did a heck of a job in making that commitment, as did we. But we had some people in our lives that really, really sacrificed for us and took the time to show us some love. So on this day, shout out to them.
Shout out to them. And I do want to get into it, though, before we head out of here, just our successes, right? Because, we're not just like these talking heads who have played sports at one point in their lives. No. So I'm gonna just front on me for a little bit,
Go ahead, run it up.
Toot my own horn.
Talk heavy, as they say.
So yes, as some of you guys know, I did go to Rancocas Valley Regional High School. Rancocas Valley Regional High School. It's so funny because I don't say it as often anymore, and I'm always get tripped up.
RV, baby.
RV, RHS. In Mount Holly, New Jersey. I joined the basketball team. Knew I was gonna be a starter in varsity just because if you saw the team. I mean, you know what? I'm not even going to front on the team. Team was good, right?
Team was good.
I joined the team as a freshman. There were a lot of upperclassmen. First year there, we won a state championship. Second year,
and I'm gonna cut in, y'all, and tell the truth because she's gonna be a little bit humble here. Now I'm gonna cut in and tell the real when she needed, and then I'm gonna let her get back to it. She was better than other girls. She had better fundamentals. She was more skilled than them, and she had the size and ability from freshman year. No, they didn't love it, but they had to deal with it.
I think they actually did love it because they knew it was going to lead them to a state.
Maybe that was my experience. I started as a freshman too.
Okay.
They didn't love it, but they had to deal with it.
I mean,
Go.
there was no one, right? There was no one on the
Yeah.
team that they would have said was going to start over me. So it didn't make sense. But I think they welcomed me, and I will say that they welcomed me because they knew that it was going to come with wins. And our seniors got to leave with a state championship that they wouldn't have if I wasn't there. So that's that. Second year, we should have won. We didn't. My junior year, we did win. And then again, senior year, we didn't. So 2 state championships as a high school player. Went on to get a scholarship from the University of Virginia.
And I'm going to pause her again right there. One of the most profound things she did throughout that entire thing was after these championships games, and I can recall.
And there's one more other thing. I be forgetting about myself.
Talk your talk, sis. But there was a championship game in which you won. You came home, sis, and studied for a few hours. Knowing young Dez in high school, it wouldn't have been me. One of the things I still praise you about, I still tell young women and young men about, like, be that type of athlete, that type of student athlete that's willing to go be great and then go put in that work and get the academics.
I also am the leading scorer of my entire high school.
Talk heavy. The whole school, really girls and boys.
Yeah, that's something I'm really proud about. Demaya Walker, who is a GOAT, RV, who's Hall of Famer at RV. Big. She's a WNBA player, WNBA All-Star, used to be former, and she held that record. So when I went in, I already idolized her, but I also wanted to make sure that I left, letting everyone know that who was here after her. So yeah, that's men and women's. That's really dope that I'm extremely proud of. Then college. University of Virginia is where I landed after high school. Could have went anywhere in the ACC really, but I chose Virginia, just wholesome people, wholesome coaches. Was able to start as a freshman, was able to be a 4-year starter actually. Nice. And be a captain the last 2 years of my experience there. Led the team to an NCAA tournament my senior year. We lost in the second round to South Carolina, who then went on to win the championship. So, I don't really take that as a loss like that because we lost to the champions. Yeah. Anyway, and then, I get my degree, bachelor's degree in American Studies, and the rest was history.
UMD, what's up? Where the master's at?
Oh, okay.
We're doing the master's. She didn't give you all.
Right after Virginia, went to University of Maryland to get my master's in journalism with the emphasis on broadcasting, which is where I found my love for commentating. I swear, if any former athletes are listening to me right now, being able to be in a position to be on camera, on live, and use your expertise in the game that you play, it's like the second best thing to playing. Like, it gives me personally a lot of the same adrenaline that I felt when I was playing as soon as those lights come on, as soon as that live light comes on. So I would definitely recommend, seeking it out, whatever opportunities that may be there if you're still in school. But that's just where I landed. And then I went on to begin my journalism career full time, work with Valley Sports right now, and I still commentate for University of Virginia women's basketball games, as well as men here and there. But
talk that talk, sis.
Yeah.
Talk that talk.
What about you? Because you got some real big accolades. Come on.
I mean,
come on, Jersey.
My history was a little more spotted. I took the turbulent route. I was a little more hard-headed than sis. Like, I was, sis was clean cut. She was the perfect student.
But I was also younger. I'm also younger than you. So there are things that I was able to see, not only from you, but from our big sister, Shayna.
That's true.
To where, and don't think I had I did a little bit of.
Yeah, low. She did but she was lower than I was. I was outside with it. And granted, I was a boy, and I was the only boy, so I had to fend for myself and do these things. But I was blessed, honestly, that my parents, they pushed me academically. Academically, now as a grown man, it's one of those things that I truly value and I'm thankful for. That they made me stay on top of those grades. They made me utilize my potential, not only athletically, but academically.
Yeah.
And, I started off at Rancocas Valley, like my little sister did, but I didn't finish there. My head coach passed away after my sophomore year. I started all 3 sports as a freshman, started varsity. So I was one of the first class, and there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of different things that come with that I dealt with as a young man that I didn't quite understand that I do now. Mm-hmm. I was just on my job. That's what kind of comes with it. But I had an opportunity to go back to Willingboro High School where I played my junior and senior year, back with all my partners that I grew up with, and we had a good team. We was one of the best in the state. We ran into some things. We had some issues where we didn't get to win a state championship in football like we should have our senior year, but still through those things, I learned, got a chance to, not only get drafted my junior year in baseball, didn't play my senior year, but I had scholarships offers in basketball and in football, and got a chance to really choose and go off to a university from a public school in New Jersey to go off and play at one of the best universities in the entire country at the
Options.
time.
And don't want to sleep on the fact that the education part, right? Because I think a lot of guys, that goes over people's heads, and like, and we all say it in our family, like, Desmond is different. like the way his brain is able to retain things, the way he's able to see and read and study things. I'm not even gonna say study, because I ain't never heard this man say.
You ain't never seen. That's the thing. You've never seen. I could hear a passage and recite it from 99 like I just heard it last night.
His SAT once? I took mine like 3-4 times. Like, yeah.
I was super blessed, and I took those almost things for granted, until post career. So fast forward, go to University of Iowa, end up at Tulane, and in 2 years at Tulane, third all time in sacks. Never really rushed a passer before. Still came out undrafted. I never forget. I got a phone call from Alonzo Highsmith. He said, "I don't know how, but somehow, some way, I'm going to make you a Green Bay Packer." That he did. That story is written. Started 7 games, beat out a first-round draft pick as an undrafted free agent at the very same position. Came into the next year a starter, ahead of an injury. And, things happen, injuries happen. God's plan is always greater than ours. But, it's a journey that I'm super proud of, and one that still continued post-football, transitioning out of the game and still being around it. We talked about how we do television. We're able to talk about the game that's done so much for each of us, respectively, but it's an honor now to not only be a representative of the game, but also to be a player who's transitioned and doing so successfully, starting a real estate investment company that's succeeding, that's prospering, something that I'll be able to pass down to my daughter, whether she can play a sport, which she's in 100 percentile height wise. I'm sure she will be able to ball. Daddy baby is going to be able to ball, but if she doesn't, still she'll be able to live her life freely. These are some of the things I'm proud to be proud about, as well as being a dad. That's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Seeing a little person, raising that little person, helping them become what they want to be, live out their potential. Lo, you're blessed.
For
the
real,
Moses family's blessed.
I think after I know our stories, right? But then we don't talk about our stories a lot. We don't talk about what we gone through to get here, and obviously the version that we share to you guys are the rosy rainbows, petals, all those things, right? Like, obviously there's adversity, but I think our stories, we wanted to share our stories to show you that no matter what the adversity is, right? Because everyone's hard day looks different, everyone's tough week, everyone's really tough year looks different, and so it's kind of just like, what will you do? What work will you put in to make sure that your dreams come true, whatever they are? It doesn't have to be in sports. It can be in literally anything. And I think I'm learning now as an adult through all of those experiences is that you lean into your strengths, and you have to also boast about your weaknesses. One of the first things I said about my experience was that I was not a very confident basketball player at all. Right. Like, that was something that I had to grow into. That was something I had to lean into. And just from a spiritual concept is that when we can accept our weaknesses, that is where God will meet us. That he will, when we are aware 100%. Of what we need him for, that is when he will meet us where we are, and he will be able to do more and abundantly. So lean into what you're not good at. Challenge yourself. Do things out of your comfort zone.
That's a great point, Lo. And I want to tap on that as well. Don't be scared to be critical of yourself. That's the only way to improve. Embrace that. If someone wants to critique you, if someone wants to take the time to give you, that's one thing that I always say about myself, and especially about you, Lauren. I've seen it, being coachable. Being able to take those critiques, not take it personal. Not
hold on. Do the coachable part. That's when you messed up.
Okay.
Hold on. Say something now.
1 2 1 2.
Okay.
And that's one thing I'll say about you, not only being coachable, but being open-minded, being willing to have those people come in and critique your game, not take it personal, but actually take note and say, okay, this is what I got from it. This is what I need to improve on. And then taking those things and going and putting that work in. I always say the number one thing to success is writing a plan. It seems so simple, but a plan is a plan. And without a plan is a plan to fail. So you got to be able to put it down, write it down, see it tangibly, and work at it every single day. That's the difference between being great, being good, and being elite.
And I also want to shout out other people. I know we talked about two of the men in our lives, coaching wise, who were our trainers and our it's crazy because I don't even look at them as trainers, right? But they definitely train me up, right? They train me up in life. They train me up in basketball. But I also want to give a shout out to Coach Eric, Coach Dave, Coach John, Coach Randy over at all of those at Philly Triple Threat. They were huge parts in developing my
shout out to y'all. Y'all beat my little sister. I was in there proud. I'm like,
they killed us. But I do want to give a shout out to them because I don't think I give them their flowers enough, and just the impact that they had on young women's lives who have all been able to make their dreams a reality by playing in Division I conferences. I think that's huge. And that was just them doing their work, showing up every day. Not sure how much they got paid, but they did it out the goodness of their heart. And so I do want to make sure that I get their thank yous in too.
For sure.
Yeah.
We appreciate y'all tuning in, checking out our episode, learning a little more about your boy, Desmond Moses, and my sister, Lauren Moses. It's that time. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
Peace, love, harmony.